And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Three Peas in a Podcast. We're three sisters where we are just inviting you into our conversations, and we are hoping that you enjoy it, that you engage. Hop down in the comments and share your thoughts. I am Veronica,
I am Bo. Welcome to our show once again.
And I am EM. Thank you all for joining us this evening.
and we will just go ahead and hop in. I don't hear any feedback today, ladies, but if we do, maybe if we do hear feedback at any point, if you're not talking, let's just go and mute if you're not talking. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and go into my content. So my conversation today is about Tuskegee University's new dress code policy for their students that they implemented this common academic year. Um, I don't know if I would call it a new dress code policy. I think they've always had a dress code policy, but they're enforcing some things. So because I always like to give you all a background. So as I read through, just to give you all the background of what's going on, I kind of want you all to think about, think about the days when we were in school and how our mindset was, or individually, you can think about when it came to getting up and dressing for class and showing up for class. What was your mindset on that? Even in high school and stuff, and just overall, just think about um, how we were taught to dress. And when you think about it, also, whose responsibility is it, do you think, to teach children? Do you think children should have been taught certain things about dress code and that type of thing, even prior to reaching university or going to college? Um, and then I'll also play some videos because you all know I like to show you all the conversations that are going on around my specific topic. So I'll show you all some of that. And also think about, do you all think it's, that the students are being limited? Because a lot of people are saying they're being limited, they're from being able to express, who they are because of this new dress code. So anyways, let me just go ahead. You all can hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go ahead and read, just to give y'all a little background, and then we'll just go ahead and go into the conversation. So Tuskegee University recently announced updates to its dress code policy and behavioral standards for students beginning this academic year. The new dress code prohibits students from wearing bedroom shoes, bonnets, and do-rags in classrooms and the cafeteria, according to its text. Revealing clothing will also be banned in classrooms during areas and official university events such as convocation. Oh, I'm sorry, dining areas. So revealing clothing will be banned from dining areas and official university events such as convocations. The new dress code policy has sparked a heated online debate. Some supporters believe the policy promotes professionalism, pride, and preparation for after graduation. Others argue the college students are adults who should have the freedom to express themselves, and that the university may be focusing on the wrong priorities. The conversations also raises questions about personal responsibility, parental guidance, and whether standards for appropriate dress code should be taught before students arrive on campus. So here's some additional questions that I'd like for you all in our audience to think about. Is the university focused on the wrong thing, or is appropriate attire an important part of the college experience? Should appropriate dress and professionalism be taught at home before students enter college? Should college students be free to wear whatever they choose as long as it does not disrupt the learning environment? Does a campus dress code prepare students for workplace, or does it unfairly limit self expression? So, those are just some of the conversations that are going on
Mm-hmm.
um, around this topic. Um, so, what are you all's thoughts around it? We'll talk about a little about what your thoughts are, and then we'll look at some of the conversation, some of the stuff that's being said online.
I think it's appropriate because, they're teaching you how to carry yourself, how you need to be as a professional. I mean, that's what college is training for the real world and for the professional world. So yeah, why would you want to wear a bonnet, pajamas, and all do rags and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, that's not appropriate. So
Yeah,
I think it is correct. I mean, we didn't wear that to school when we
yeah.
were in school. We didn't wear that type of things, those type of clothing to class. So absolutely, it's appropriate. And anyone who thinks that it's okay, they're of the wrong mindset anyways. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't understand any type of thinking that would permit you to wear those types of things to classes. And then you talked about, different clothing as far as revealing clothing. Did you say something like that as well?
Yeah, they are prohibiting revealing clothing from certain type of events like
Mm-hmm.
professional meetings, convocations that the school have. Those type of events, the
Mm-hmm.
revealing clothing is prohibited.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention also bed shoes. So I guess they're talking about like we call them
House
house
shoes or
shoes. Yeah,
slippers. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they are prohibited as well.
Yeah, that's appropriate. I agree with that.
Hmm.
I think that if I remember that there were some dress codes in place when we were in college, and
Hmm.
there were some things that you couldn't wear. I think there
Hmm.
were jeans with holes in them back
Yeah.
then. We couldn't
Hmm.
wear those. So it's appropriate that, I mean, you're not supposed to wear that type of attire to work. So,
Hmm.
you're preparing for the workforce and for, real life working experience, and those things are not permitted in the society of working. So why would you want to wear those to class? So I think it's absolutely on point.
Hmm. I think back when we were, I don't know if you all remember when we were all in school together.
Mhm.
EM, are you talking? We can't hear you, EM. Can't hear you. You're on
Okay,
mute, I think.
it's off.
Can't hear you.
You
Okay.
say go ahead.
I remember when we were all three we were all three in school together. I believe it was a semester two we were. Do you
Mhm.
remember we had, and I believe they were yours, but I used to wear them all the time. We both may have worn, but we had these big bear. They were house shoes, but they were shaped like big bear
Mhm.
claws. You remember those?
Mhm. I remember those.
Those things were so fun to wear.
Mhm.
Now, and I remember I would wear them all over
Mhm.
campus, but I would not wear them to class. I don't
Mhm.
think I wear them to class. I don't even know if I wore them in the lunchroom. I don't even think I hardly ever wear them in the lunchroom, but I would wear
Mhm.
them around campus.
Around
But
campus.
I
Mhm.
always had on like
After hours.
regular clothes. I
Right.
never had
Mhm.
on just one with my pajamas, unless we were like standing outside. Like had, because you remember how our dorms were.
Right.
We had the boys' dorm and then we had the girls' dorm. If we were
Mhm.
like had all gotten ready for bed and we were just standing out for a late night chat,
Right.
I would probably have on some PJs or something. But I thought back to that. But
Mhm.
I think it was just like I said, different. I wouldn't dare wear them. Wouldn't have dare
The
have worn
class.
them to
Mhm.
class.
Mhm.
You know. Uh, but when class was over and downtime, I did go and throw them on with regular
Mhm.
clothes. But I
Right.
think the scenario here is different. People have just EM.
Yeah. We can't hear you.
Do you want to go out and come back in, EM? Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, you said that you wouldn't dare wear those to class. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it
absolutely.
wouldn't have brought. No, yeah. But what I was saying is, I think the scenario, the reason that Tuskegee has put this policy in place is,
Mm-hmm.
the scenario is different. People have just become so lax.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's not just on college campuses. You
Yeah.
see people, walking through the grocery stores, look like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of they just crawled out of bed.
Pajamas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Um, so EM.
She's frozen.
Oh, she may have went back in. She may be coming back in. Oh, here she is. I think I got that.
Let her in. Yeah.
No, it says remove. Maybe she needs to come back in.
Yeah.
Let me let her know to come back in.
Yeah. But absolutely, they're on point with that. I mean, it's just not professional. And who wants to sit up, around someone, even at home? Like, I work from home. Like, I
Hmm.
have to, we have meetings and stuff for Zoom. And when I'm on Zoom, even if I happen to
I
have
mean,
went to work in my pajamas, I'm going to
mhm.
put on me a blouse and I'm going to be presentable because I'm on the camera. So it's all the same.
Can you
Yeah,
all hear me now?
Yes,
we
we
can hear
can.
you now.
Okay, so my take on, I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties, but I was getting a lot of static and stuff.
Hmm.
But you ever notice when you went to college how they addressed you as Miss Fleming,
Hmm.
and they addressed you a certain type of way to make you, kind of help you feel like this is the real deal. This is not elementary or high school or junior high anymore. This is
Right.
the real world. So they address you a certain kind of way, and most of the time your instructors, I know for me, my instructors were usually dressed up.
Yeah.
They came dressed like this was serious. So
Hmm.
I don't believe that those type of things should be worn to class, because you're in higher education. You're studying for your future, and no, you shouldn't be in class in pajamas. You should go dressed appropriately.
Hmm.
And I think we talked about this before. When we were coming up, we had a wardrobe for certain things. You had a wardrobe for church. You had a wardrobe, your play outside clothes. You
Hmm.
had a
Right.
wardrobe for school.
Hmm.
You had your wardrobe for the evening,
Right.
for whatever you wore to bed. So yes, it is a parent's job to raise their children to understand how to present themselves in certain circumstances. So yes, that should be part of your upbringing. You should know how to present yourself. So as far as the rules go for that college, I believe that is great, and every college should do that. There should be
Hmm.
standards.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree also. So now what I want to do is just play some of the conversations that are going on. Um, and I'll start with my video one, and just I kind of try to slow it down so that we can see the conversation. So let me just add this one to the stage.
Okay.
So because there a lot, all seems like everybody's talking about it. The
Right.
news outlets, the blogs, everybody is talking about it. Now this person here had an interesting perspective. He says, "This is me in 2013. I went to work like this. You basically have to leave your hair like this for weeks." And it says, "And what kind of job did I have? I was a federal air traffic controller." And he's saying that this did not prevent him from doing a good job, and
Hmm.
so he's against the policy.
Yeah, he's a different opposing side.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And I mean, I get that too. With it doesn't hinder him from doing the job that he's supposed to do. But these children or young adults are in training, so they're being trained, how to be professionals. So
Mm-hmm.
being a professional, you have a look that you need to present yourself as. I mean, the way the mohawk and everything. I mean, obviously he had some, probably had some background in the field, and he had the experience, and he had what was necessary to get the job.
Mm-hmm.
But without the necessary background and experience, looking with the mohawk, I don't think that would have worked for him. But I don't know his situation, so I can't say for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the
And
arguments,
there are things too that, let's just be candid and honest. There are some things that other cultures can get away with that we can't.
That's true.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
for him, sure, they let him do that. I'm sure he had on whatever clothes he was supposed to wear to work,
Hmm.
but there are some things that certain people slide with that we don't get to slide with. And it's
That's true.
unfortunate, but that's just the truth.
True.
And
Yeah.
with that being a BCU, they're trying to help our young people be successful, and we know what we have to do to be successful in certain and everybody's not going to have a 9 to 5. And sure, you might be able to wear your pajamas at your own business or what you do, but
Hmm.
certain people will go out into different careers in certain fields, and they need to present themselves a certain way.
Hmm.
Mhm. Now, I saw it. Some of the conversation was around people were saying, okay, let them, they have all these studies to do. And, I think Tuskegee is an engineering school, is it not? That's so, their majors are tough in itself, but they're saying, let them, one comment was, let them babies go to school, lax, and,
And let's stop calling them babies.
yeah,
Those are
yeah,
young
they're young
adults.
adults. They're young adults.
They're young
And
adults.
So the statement was when it's time for them to interview and stuff, they won't show up at interviews like that. And so
Mhm.
someone else came on and said, "I beg your finest pardon." She
Right,
said,
because
"Yes,
they
they
do.
do come to interviews like this."
Mhm.
So I think I agree with the policy, and I think that it has to start somewhere. And if they didn't get it at home before they reach university, then someone has to set the standard for them.
Right.
You
And
know,
you
in
never know
terms,
how somebody has been raised and what they were exposed to at
yes,
home. And some
yeah,
people just don't know. You would
mm-hmm,
think they do, but some just
Mhm.
don't. So at the college, at that level, if they have to instill it or teach it, then that's fine. But those things should be taught. But you know, like I said, you never know what that person's background is or what they came from.
yeah.
So, you know, so if it
And
has
I
to be
think you
done
have
there,
to
then
keep
let it
that
be
in
done.
mind. I think you have to keep that in mind too, EM. You never know where someone is coming from because, and I've seen movies and stuff and documentaries where some of these young people are homeless
Mhm.
and trying to get an education to make a better life for themselves. So you just
Right.
never know what someone is going through. So I agree with the policy, but I think they need to continue. And I think they have, do it with grace.
Right.
Um, so this person here had a different perspective. She said maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't think Tuskegee banning bonnets and do-rags creates the kind of environment an HBCU is supposed to have. I understand the argument about professionalism. I really do. But Black students spend most of their lives navigating spaces where they're told to shrink parts of themselves to fit someone else's definition of professional. Now, I kind of have, to me, when it comes to do rags and bonnets and, wearing pajamas and stuff, I'm just trying to say that that's just a part of the culture and the Black experience. When it comes to that,
That's not trying to shrink
you need to
yourself.
throw that out the window with to
Yeah.
me because
That's
that's
not trying to shrink yourself.
no, it's
That's not. I
no,
mean, no, that's not. No, I don't agree with that comment at
I don't
all.
agree with it at
That's
all.
probably somebody who wears a do rag and a bonnet out in public already.
Mm-hmm.
Who made that comment? No, I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that was. Mhm.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go no, go ahead, Ian, because
I mean, when you talk about shrinking them, we're talking about shrinking personality, shrinking freedom of expression, letting them be who they are. But at the same token, if you go to Harvard, they have a dress code.
mm-hmm.
If you
And
go
probably more
to,
stringent than this.
right, MIT, they have a dress code.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not
Yeah,
use
let's
that.
not do that. Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
100%.
no.
Mhm.
So I'm just waiting for this too because I tried to do this slow because I wanted to read her entire comment. So it's gonna start moving again in a few seconds.
And some of these things that are allowed and you see at HBCUs are why sometimes our kids don't want to go to HBCUs
Mhm.
because of certain
Mm-hmm.
things. And it's not just cultural. It's things that we let go and we say, oh, that's how we do it. No, we need to come up to higher standards as a
Standards,
community, as
absolutely.
people.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to get this thing to move. Okay, here we are. Okay, it says an HBCU has always meant something different to me. It's supposed to be one of the few places. I don't know. I didn't want to start it over. I'm sorry. Okay, it says we have over a century of history showing that, and this is the point that she made, and I agree with this. She says we have over a century of history showing that respectability has never been a guarantee of dignity. Black people wore three-piece suits during segregation. Black women dressed impeccably during the civil rights movements. They were still denied jobs, denied services, and denied basic human rights. So when people say this is about self respect. I hear that, but I also hear the old message that if we just present ourselves the right way, we'll be taken seriously. So I think that part of her, what she said, resonated with me. What do you all think
Yeah,
about that?
but I'm not dressing appropriately for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing it for them. I want to
Right.
look a certain way and I want to carry myself a certain way because of who I am.
Right.
It doesn't have to do whether or not they give me a job doesn't dictate how I'm going to dress. I
Mm-hmm.
have my own personal brand, the things that I believe in, And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not dressing for them. I'm not dressing just so they'll accept me. I'm dressing
Right.
because this is who I am. I respect myself and I have dignity. And so when
Right.
I step outside my door, that matters to me, how I look when I go certain places, when I do certain things. So it's not just about that. I mean, our parents raised us to have dignity and respect for ourselves, for who we are.
Hmm.
We represent our family. We
Right.
represent,
I agree.
other than, it's not about them, it's about who I am.
Hmm.
I agree 100%. I agree. And like I do agree with you, but like I said, that this part of her statement did resonate with me because it's true. It is true. What she did right here is true. I find it to be true, but I do agree with what you said, Em.
Hmm.
Um, okay, it says okay. So then she goes on to say, "I don't believe a satin bonnet. I do." Gosh.
Just as I don't believe a satin bonnet or a do rag determines someone's what is it,
Yeah, someone's
character,
character. I got it. I
intelligence,
got it.
or
So I'm
future.
sorry.
I
I was just
believe
making.
how
Hold on. I
you.
was just making sure I didn't go back up to the top. So I
Okay, I know you don't have your glasses, so that's why I just
it's fine.
went
Thank
to the
you though.
page. Hmm.
I thought I went back up to the top. I
Hmm.
don't believe a satin bonnet or do rag determines someone's character, intelligence, or future. I believe how you treat people, how you show up, how you show up, and what you contribute says a whole lot more. That's why the conversation is bigger than bonnets. It's about what kind of black spaces we're trying to build and whether those spaces should ask to become more like everyone else, just to be considered respectable. So that was her take on it. What do you all think about that? And I know we talked about it. We were talking about it as I read it, but
I
you know, I,
mean,
I I agree with some of the things she said. I don't agree with everything
yeah.
she said.
I mean, she's right. It doesn't determine how intelligent you are or, how respectable you are. But to be honest, I mean, when we see people in bonnets and, you know, in do rags, I mean, what do you think of? You think of a person who's out in the streets acting up. You know what I'm saying? So you want to present yourself in a way that portrays you as the person who you are. You don't want to portray yourself as a person who is not well put together. You want to put yourself together well because, like Em said, we represent not only ourselves, we represent our families, we represent our communities, some of us, our churches, and just a lot
Mhm.
more than just ourselves.
Right. And one thing I'd like to commend them on is because you all have been on social media. The last few years, Black women have gotten, excuse my French, hell over bonnets. It was this big thing about wearing bonnets in the airport, on the airplane. Just receive. A lot of celebrities were chiming in about the bonnets. So I can appreciate that they included do rags in here too, because I think do rags, in my opinion, are just as bad as bonnets out in
Yeah,
public.
it's the same.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, I've gone long enough. That was my conversation. I appreciate you all engaging. Did you all have anything else you want to say about it?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, then, Bo, you are up next.
All right, thank you for my opportunity to speak. Well, I know that one of the things that's trending, not necessarily in the United States, but in Canada, um, Canada calls off joint Gordie Howe Bridge opening with U.S. over the U.S. tariff threat. So they just opened this new international bridge that bridges the gap between Michigan and Canada, and it's called the Howe International Bridge. It connects Detroit, Michigan, and Windsor, Ontario. It officially opened on the 27th of July. The launch followed a fierce dispute over toll revenue sharing and 50% of the tariffs on Canadian goods, which led Canada to host a solo ribbon cutting ceremony. So they opened this bridge. Canada paid $6.4 billion to prepare this bridge and get this bridge together and open this bridge. And they put their money where their mouth was to make it happen. And then, our president says, um, well, we want 50% of the tolls that are being paid on this bridge after we didn't put up the money to help, build this bridge, but we want to place claim on 50% of the tolls that are being made on the bridge. Granted, I do realize that part of it is coming from Michigan, but I said, Canada has been an ally of the United States for many years. So it's like, so now are we burning bridges, literally? I just feel like, it's like we shouldn't just be making demands on, oh, you need to give us, part of the 50% of the tolls if we didn't, put in money to help establish getting this bridge, you know, uprooted and started. Um, so basically, I just looked up, what's been trending in Canada. They decided when they had their ceremony to not invite America to the ribbon cutting. So there was a ribbon cutting event that took place, and I mean, it looked like there were many people there, but it did look like it could have been more people there. But because of the dispute about 50% of the tolls needing to go to the U.S., they decided to just cut us from it, and they just did their own thing. And then, I feel like definitely before we should get anything, they should be reimbursed for what they paid, to build the bridge. And then after that, then maybe tolls for the US could, come into play. But I don't know, what do you guys think about that?
I think that's only right, and that
Mhm.
was the agreement.
Mhm.
So and the only reason when Veronica told me about this subject, I knew a little bit about it because you know that we do a little bit of logistics, and there are
Mhm.
often loads going into Canada,
Mhm.
but most truckers don't want it, and and I knew about the Ambassador Bridge. So the
Mhm.
Ambassador Bridge is the one that was built in 1929. That is the bridge that is used today to
Mhm.
cross over from the U.S. into Canada.
Mhm.
Now that bridge is a private owned bridge.
Mhm.
Normally, governments own bridges, not private. So that bridge is owned by a very wealthy family up there in Michigan. It's
Mhm.
a U.S. family that owns the Ambassador Bridge. That
Mhm.
is a bridge that you have to cross today to get
Mhm.
over there. Now, truckers hate it because they said the waits right there are hours
Mhm.
trying to get over into Canada. So
Mhm.
that's when I said I knew a little bit about this, I do remember because that's one thing the truckers always complain about. You got to go through that bridge and customs and all that to get over there.
Mhm.
So having one bridge, one access point is a weakness in itself
Mhm.
because that bridge was built in 1929. Y'all gonna have to excuse the kids because they're getting in. That
Mhm.
bridge was built in 1929. Its
Mhm.
infrastructure is old. If
Mhm.
it goes out, that is the only way to get over. And there are billions of dollars of import that go across that bridge
Mhm.
every year.
Mhm.
So I think that it is very greedy of Trump to do that. That
Mhm.
the Canadians deserve to earn their money back first. They're
Mhm.
already charging half of what the ambassadors charge
Mhm.
for the toll to get over the bridge. So they're
Mhm.
trying to get people to take this new bridge.
Mhm.
So I think that Trump is being greedy again. He's already
Mhm.
charging tariffs. Let the Canadians get their money back.
Right.
So there are
Mhm.
two access points.
Mhm.
The family that owned Ambassador Bridge fought this for years. they,
Mhm.
they have been trying to do this years, and Canada and the U.S. finally won to have the right to get another bridge. So I
Mhm.
believe that he's being greedy about it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I do
I
too. And
was
like I said,
I wasn't familiar
mhm.
with this topic at all. I'm
Mhm.
um but it sounds like to me, greed is playing a part in it.
Mhm.
Selfishness, and it's not a good look,
Mhm.
for America. Um, but my question is, so how do we allow them to recoup that money? Because you said they paid how much?
They
Was it
paid $6.4 million to
Well,
have
that's
this
what the
bridge.
oh
tolls are going to do. The
Mhm.
6 point?
tolls are
Well,
going to help them.
I'm just trying
Yeah,
to process my
yeah.
thought. Okay. Oh, I thought you said billion because I was like, we really ain't
Billion.
got
I'm
no money.
sorry. It's
It
six
is
point four
billion.
billion. It's
Okay, so
billion.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Again, my question is how, how do we reimburse them to this? Do we maybe the first, what, I don't know, 10 years or so, just say any tolls we get, whether you're going into or coming out of Canada, Canada gets that,
Well, that was
you know.
written
I
in
think
the agreement. The
they should
agreement
get
was that
everything
they
that they
keep the
pay.
toll. That was the
Mhm.
Okay.
agreement.
Okay.
Before anybody gets
Yeah.
anything, they should
Oh,
get
so okay. So now,
what they put out.
so
But
now,
Trump is trying to change that.
okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So thank
Yeah.
you all for okay, for explaining that to me. So that was the original. Okay. I thought, maybe they were going to, okay, well, it's 6 billion. You give 3 billion now, we get 3 billion. So it was not like that. Okay.
Right. No, and it really works out to America's advantage
Hmm.
because of all the trade going on. So now
Mm-hmm.
you have it'll be easier for people to get across that border.
Hmm.
Their toll fee is about 50% of what the Ambassador Bridge toll is. It's about 50% less. They charge, I don't know if you know about trucks, you have so many axles on a truck. So
Hmm.
the Ambassador Bridge, I believe, is charging $50 per axle on
Hmm.
that semi. This
Hmm.
company is charging $20 per axle.
Hmm.
So when you look at all that, that brings down the cost of our goods because the truckers are going to pay less to get over into Canada and to bring things in than they pay going over Ambassador Bridge. And also it will save them time because they won't
Hmm.
be waiting hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right. That was the original agreement. It says that the funding and initial terms, Canada financed the entire 6.4 billion
Yes.
project. The 2012 agreement with Michigan allowed Canada to collect 100% of the toll revenue until its construction debt was
Right.
paid off, after which profits would be split. Now, when I said that it should go that way, I didn't actually, I hadn't
Yeah.
read this, that was the
Hmm.
original agreement. So,
Right.
yeah.
And that's fair. That's
Mhm.
fair. They
It is
split it
fair.
the whole bill.
Hmm.
That's only right that
What is his
That's right.
reason for switching up?
girl, he just greedy. He just, and then he want to charge them tariffs on top of that. You know, I feel like with them footing the bill for that, the tariff shouldn't be as much. And they should, I mean, it's billions of
It's like
dollars.
he's trying to work against everybody.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah,
and,
and
and,
it's
and,
like I said,
you
those
know,
were allies.
yeah.
Canada's our ally. It's like why would you try to disrupt a a working relationship that we have with a country that is an ally with us?
At this
Why
point,
disrupt that?
I believe our allies, and I
Hmm.
say that loosely, are holding on by a thread in the
Hmm.
hope that, okay,
Hmm.
when someone else get in there, they're gonna make it.
Right.
Right.
We're gonna make
Everything will
it
go
right.
back.
We're
Right.
gonna get back on track.
Right.
So that is crazy.
But yeah,
Um.
but it's a great thing that
Hmm.
bridge is very good for logistics. It's very good
Hmm.
for trade.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they say U.S. officials were uninvited from Canada's ribbon cutting event in Windsor, and the bridge opened successfully on the 27th, which was just a couple of days ago. And now it'll be open for traffic. People will be able to walk the bridge and all kinds of stuff. And it's a beautiful sight. The video I sent you. You didn't get to play it all, I guess, because of the music. I don't know if you could turn the music down, but it's a beautiful bridge.
It played. It played from.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Canada.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can visit it.
Yeah, I would like to visit and see it as well, to
Hmm.
drive across it.
Yeah, and just know it ain't us.
It ain't us.
That was a
We're
good.
on your
That was a good
side.
topic.
We think you need to get your money before we get anything out of it. Get
Right.
get your bank.
That was a good topic. I didn't know much about it until you all
Mhm.
educated me on it. But it was a good topic.
Mhm.
Bo,
Thank you,
anything
my
else?
brother. No, that's it.
Okay. EM.
Go ahead and give them my title.
Um. Now EM's title is wealthy, but many think I'm broke.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit because I often get stuck in the, you know, I just hate what we're seeing online, how things are so fake, and people feel like if they don't have this or they don't have that, that they're not living their lives, and that they need to have purses, cars, and houses and all that stuff when it's
Mm-hmm.
about so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking about growing up, we had a decent childhood, but there were times where everything went perfect. There were times when the lights was off. It was time when the phones was off. It was certain things that happened that wasn't perfect, but we had both parents. We didn't starve. We had some good times in the dark. The gas still worked, so the heat still worked. You still have fire, you could still cook. So I just wanted to talk about that. What do you see? Do you feel like people are getting lost in stuff? The houses, the cars, looking at these videos online where these people have all this stuff that looks like luxury, but it really ain't. It's just a whole bunch of cheap stuff, that they've bought. I saw one video online today where I don't know if you guys seen it, where this Amazon guy was making a drop off, and he was talking. He was like, he said, "How do you guys?" He was talking on the phone to somebody making a drop off, but the ring camera caught him. He said, "Don't you guys have enough stuff? I've been delivering here 3 years. I'm bringing packages every day. Where do you put it? Don't you have enough?" And I'm like, when will we have enough? When will we start valuing the things that really make that are valuable? Like having good, peaceful times, being healthy. Those are the wealthy things. Spending time and having family that's alive and vibrant and in good health. You like I said, you don't need another purse. You don't need another pair of shoes. But what really is wealth? What really is rich? What I mean, I think that that's gotten lost. So that's my topic today. What do you feel like is wealth? What is your wealth right now?
For me, more than anything, is health. I try to stay as healthy as I can. I try to eat healthy. I haven't been able to work out the way I had in the beginning of the year. I want to get back to that. But more than anything, it's health and family, and having family that love you, that want to spend time with you, and you know, health and family more than anything.
I think I agree. I agree with. I echo what both of you all have said, and my manager and I had a conversation, and we were both 100% in agreement. But our head, the person who's the whole head of our company, our CEO, whatever title they give these people, of course they put out how we're doing. I guess we're, what are we, Q2, how we're, how they send out the messages, how we're doing, and so on. And then one of our then we come together as our own little group and have our own meetings, and then that's dwindled down to me and my manager having our one-on-one. But anyways, during our group meeting, um she kind of said, well, she felt like we were kind of left in limbo, like, something's gonna happen, but we don't know what's gonna happen, so there was conversations around that. And so when she and I got together, and she had asked me, well, what did you think about, both meetings, I said, well, so I'm just going to be honest. We had some conversations around HR, and I told her that I appreciate AI and advanced technology and stuff, and I embrace it. I said, but I did tell her that I feel like we're losing the human from human
Right.
resources, but that was a whole nother conversation. But another thing I told her is, as I said, these conversations used to give me anxiety. And I used to walk around in anxiety from the unknown, from the what ifs. I said, but I'm just at an age now. I said, I can't even afford to take on unnecessary burden, unnecessary stress. I said, over stuff that I have no control over.
Right. Hmm.
So I believe a peace of mind, just
Yeah, and
overall.
I was thinking,
Yeah,
I was waiting
yeah,
on you to finish because I was going to say,
yeah.
just having a
Just
sound
peace.
mind.
Yeah,
You
Right.
overall
know.
peace is a part, plays a big part in that.
Mhm.
um and just the mindset of peace, peace on your job, no matter what's going on, peace in your home. I believe EM, and
Definitely,
we've talked on
absolutely.
that one time, just making your home the most
Your home
peaceful
should be
place.
your sanctuary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your sanctuary.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
and to me, another thing is not being tied to, and I'm not judging anyone, but
Mhm.
tied to addictions and things like that. That's wealth to me. I mean, it's
Mhm.
some people who are out there down bad,
Mhm.
because of, things that have happened, and, getting
Mhm.
themselves, entangled in some things that they probably wish they never done, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's kind of like what my topic. I want people to think about that. What is you really wealth and rich to you? Because
mhm.
all this other stuff will pass away. Before you know it, you'll be 50, 60,
hmm
70, 80,
Mhm.
and all
hmm
that other stuff won't even matter.
hmm
So, that was my topic, just to remind everyone that even to think about what wealth really is and what it is to you. It's so much more than money and the stuff you see online. I've gotten to the
hmm
point that if I see a house too perfect online, I don't even like it anymore. I just go on, because it's just a facade and it's fake.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, I'm kind of tired of that. I'd rather see somebody cooking in their regular kitchen with some
hmm
regular stuff. Yeah, maybe your cabinets are not organized.
hmm
Maybe it's not as clean as these people, make it. Let's just be realistic. When we do stuff, it's not always perfect.
Right.
So, and I think that we set expectations for people that's not true, and then people
hmm
become unhappy about things that they shouldn't be unhappy about.
Mhm.
So that was just it for me, to just remind people that wealth is about so much more than things,
It's
and
not what
being
you have at
rich.
all.
It doesn't that's not it. If
It's the
things make you
connections that you
happy,
have with the
yeah,
people
if things
around
is what makes you happy and you get your joy, then you need to rethink some things and see
you.
what
Yeah.
the root of that is. Like, I know one lady, I love her to death. She bowls with us, but
hmm
she is very much into Louis Vuitton this, and so she just has a whole. She spends a lot of money, and so one day she just told me, she said, I grew up with nothing.
Mhm.
And she's a young lady who, she's very dark skinned, but she's a beautiful woman. But she said people teased her and they called her names because she was dark, and she was very poor, and she had to be raised with her grandmother. So she said now she just go all out. But the root of that is because of how she was raised. She didn't have much, um, but I kind of see emptiness in her.
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
don't
no
think her
matter.
skin color really needed to be, a part of the reason. I mean, it's who she is, it's just who
No,
she
that's what
is.
she said to me.
Yeah, she said
That's
she
what
was
she told
pleased
me,
because of that.
that she got teased and stuff coming up, and she didn't have much, and blah blah blah. So now she go all out for how she looks. She go all out for the stuff she have because of that. But I still see an emptiness in her. It's not fulfilling that, and she really, to me, needs to find out what really will
Something inside of
fill
her.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just saying people need to do soul searching and find out what really matters to them, and do things that will give you fulfillment, and not things that make you happy. Happiness is you do something happens, happens.
Mhm.
It's not joy. It's not fulfillment.
Yeah.
So that's my topic for this evening. Just
Um,
find something that find out what your wealth is, where you're rich at, because it's not in things.
and
Right.
going back to the things, I noticed one thing, and I noticed this about myself. I say a few years ago, because I will admit, I was a big shopper of things, and I have a lot of stuff, you know, clothes and shoes and all that stuff. But one thing I noticed about me is I would, on an impulse, go on these little shopping sprees, and I ordered this bunch of stuff. And once the stuff came, like it was the build up, the anticipation for the to get
To
these
get it.
packages.
Yeah.
As soon as them packages came, I opened it, looked at it, threw it across whatever.
Mhm.
It's like that high was gone.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff still in my closet.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. I mean, I agree with you. Sometimes, we want things so bad, and then when we get them, just like you just said, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Because, even like when it comes to the big houses and stuff, it's like sometimes so much turmoil is going on inside of that house after you get it. It's kind of like, why?
Yeah.
Like all this for what? For this? So I understand that point of view.
Yeah. Now that was a good topic. Very
hmm
good topic. It helps you to self-reflect also.
hmm
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Mhm.
Well, this was a great live. We're at 8:45. Good time. Thank you all for joining again. If you're catching our live, hop down in the comments. If you're catching the replay, hop down in the comments.
Mhm.
We're Three Peas in the Podcast. Until next time.
Peace
Bye.
out.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Good
joining.
evening.
We hope we said something that will perk your interest, something that will maybe give you a conversation piece, or just that you enjoyed the show. Drop down in the comments. Let us know what you think.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Peace
You
out.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Come on, guys. Let's go.